people say that fasting for women is not great for their hormones. And, I've heard some women say they started getting problems with their periods because they were fasting too much. So I've been careful with fasting the last few years. But also I'm currently breastfeeding. So it seems scary to think like, oh, fast because you feel like, oh, but I have to, make sure I eat enough so that I make enough milk for the baby. And you don't want to put too much stress on your body because that can reduce milk supply. But yeah, a lot of people say you should be careful with fasting when it comes to your fertility.
Bears hibernate,
Yeah.
some nest. They don't move for six months. They gestate a baby bear,
Mm,
and they don't eat, piss, poop, or drink
mm,
for 6 months. And they lose only one thing:
mm,
fat. See, a fat cell contains fatty acids, amino acids, and simple sugars.
mm,
And fat contains glycerol. Glycerol is converted into what? A sugar,
mm.
right? And so ultimately, what are the odds that you had 3 to 6 meals a day 50,000 years ago?
Yeah, not very high.
Very, very low, right? And so, okay, someone says, well, you must have, you got to get, why do we get fat so easy? It's really stupidly simple because we're supposed to be.
Mm,
I mean, people like, I can't get skinny easily. Something's wrong with me. Nothing's wrong with you.
mm,
Like, if you get skinny fast and there's no food for a month, you're fertilizer.
mm,
So we've got it all wrong. So if if a if many animals can gestate and then breastfeed a baby without eating for a significant amount of time, I mean they're looking for food, knowing they must replenish their fat. But what are the odds that you're not going to have food in a week from now?
yeah, like
Very
not
low.
very,
Very low.
yeah.
And so again, but your brain worries. Oh my God, I got to have this. I can't do that. So I better do this. I mean, we worry.
Mm,
But we've been so the same thing. Let's say you're in a cave 50,000 years ago and you're not thinking about food next week. That's not good, right? So our instinct is driven by the brain. The brain's not dumb. Give me more food.
mm,
So now, does your brain have knowledge of food next week? It doesn't, because the brain is always thinking of survival, and next week you may not have any food.
mm,
And so if you don't eat today and get fat for what's in front of you, then you're in trouble.
mm.
Now, did you have any hyperemesis, morning sickness?
Yes. And not hectic, but I had a lot of food aversions. So I didn't
Why?
feel sick as much, but red meat was not, I did not want it. I tried to eat a lot of chicken and fish and stuff, what I could. And then dried
Well,
meat
but
was fine, but
but why did you have a food aversion in the first trimester?
I don't know.
To protect your baby.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You're going to eat deadly food, which is toxic and going to harm your baby.
Mm,
So the leading toxic food is plants. Okay. And what do we force women to eat? Crackers, right?
mm,
Sugars, right? Let's fill your body with sugar, which you have no requirement to eat. But the same thing goes with meat and other things, right? It might be for the first trimester, you eat very little to nothing.
mm,
Oh, gee, what weight are you 50,000 years ago? 100 pounds or 150 pounds?
mm.
How many pounds do you think you might lose a day by laying in a cave and eating nothing but just eating a baby?
I don't know.
Very
Maybe,
little,
yeah,
very
Yeah.
little, maybe less than a pound. Remember, if you're gestating, you're converting your fat to a baby.
Yes.
You're building a baby out of the fat, right?
Sounds nice.
And so what people don't understand is that fat is the fuel, fat is the building block. I mean, if you look at a cell wall, what is a cell wall made of?
Fat.
What is the mitochondrial cell wall made of?
Fat.
fat,
How about the red blood cell wall?
fat,
How about
Oh.
the white cell, platelet cell?
Mhm.
Every
phospholipid,
cell of your body is made of, guess what? Fat.
mm,
Yes.
Why don't we dissolve in water? Because we're made of
fat.
fat. And fat attracts other fat and makes a micelle. It makes a cell.
Mm.
Sugar and amino acids in water they dissolve. They don't make an organism,
Yes.
right? So so ultimately, fat is fit, and we burn fat. Eating 3 to 6 meals a day is deadly, and fasting is rock on amazing, even for women who are trying to get pregnant, even for women who are pregnant, even for women who are breastfeeding. I think fasting is critical